Welcome to the best ever podcast that's there on YouTube. Well, I mean, sometimes it's okay to pretend. Welcome to the Three Body Narrative. We are your podcast hosts, Pradyum, Aaron, and Naeem, and we are here to discuss everything pop culture movies, TV shows, games, you name it. And for today's episode, we're going to be talking about Rental Family. So, what's the movie all about? Well, it follows a company in Japan that offers quite a unique service where people can hire stand in family members for different moments in their lives. As one employee navigates these roles, the story quietly examines identity, emotional needs, and how far people go to feel a sense of belonging, whether it be genuine or pretend. So, I guess we will start with our ratings for this episode. Before we get to that, I'm going to say it right now. Please do hit the like button, share with friends and family, and follow us on Instagram and every other social media that we're probably on. The links will be in the description down below. So, I'm going to start with my ratings for today's episode. And I am going to give Rental Family a. Oh, it's always nervous doing this first. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I knew that I was going to enjoy it the moment we did the trailer itself, and I it's one of those wholesome, feel good kind of movies which I thoroughly enjoy. I think the last one which I really liked in this sort of genre was The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Again, something that it's a very underrated movie, which but I really love it because I can just watch it either when I'm feeling down or when I just want to watch a movie and have a good time. And this is one of those movies. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love the casting of Brendan Fraser in this kind of movie because I think he brings the right sort of emotion and personality that you really require. Ever with whatever he's gone through and everything, it's just nice to have him back here. And yeah, I love the characters. I love the story. I love Japan as the setting because I love the vibe that it gives. I love the cultures that we were seeing. I love the concept of the movie or the concept of this sort of company. I think in these troubled times, it's quite nice to have. I guess I know you're paying for it, but still, it's it's quite nice to have something like that, and a friend or someone to be around with and share those moments with. So I kind of liked it, and I guess a 4 out of 5. I'm quite surprised though, given the kind of movies that were listed for the Oscars. I'm surprised that this was omitted after watching it. I was like, shit, how could you have F1 over this? But yeah, I'm still not over that. So yeah, that's my rating for this movie.
I also had a similar experience. I would give it a 4 out of 5 for sure. Definitely a very, very strong performance from Brendan Fraser. Loved it, especially the emotional aspects of his acting. The way he kind of displays the vulnerability of the character, and that was really good to see. Even the side characters, the ones that you focus on, were pretty good. Like this friend that he has from work. I felt like her performance was very nuanced, especially when you kind of see her go into one of the roles that is expected, and how she kind of reacts to that in a more, like, I think, taken aback, but immediately trying to get what she needs to get um, in exchange for kind of playing that role, I suppose. But like, all in all, I think maybe in the middle there was a moment where it felt like the movie was dragging on. I felt like the pacing was not the best for the middle part, but I also understand for movies like this, it's kind of important to build on certain relationships and focus. I think it was more to do with that author and his line of story that was there. But again, very, very short bits and pieces where it felt that way. Um, I think also the relationships that are shown, again, rented rather, are so realistic in the way they're kind of displayed. Like, even though they're not actually like in those relations or whatever, it just felt like, wow, they're doing such a great job. And like, I mean, obviously we'll talk about the twist that comes later. uh I mean, we'll talk about it later, but that was also pretty nice to see. I guess, like, in terms of the emotional aspects of the movie is what like really gripped. And some same along the lines, I think we watched this trailer together, if I'm not wrong, and I think we reacted to it, and I had been looking forward to it ever since. Unfortunately, it came quite late for us. I don't even think it came into the cinemas because I don't remember seeing it. So yeah, I was looking forward to it, and I'm glad I'm not disappointed with the movie. One other mention that I have about the movie is I really love the soundtrack of the movie. Like, it just had this very calming music playing every now and then, where there's no dialogue happening and it just pauses for a moment, and that really kind of like, I don't know how to sum up that feeling, but it just, like, it was a very nice feeling to have, kind of a thing. So I really like the music as well. Yeah. So 4 out of 5.
I think I'd give it a 4 as well out of 5. Though I felt like the movie was kind of a slow burner, I think till you actually got invested in the characters and stuff like that, where you were still like kind of like, okay, where is this going, sort of thing. I think like both of you mentioned, the acting was really good. I think all of them captured the emotion and the situations really well for audiences to kind of feel what was happening in the particular lives and scenarios that each character was kind of living or experiencing. So that was quite nice. Uh, I think also the cultural aspects that they brought in, like being that the movie was set in Japan, I think that was really nicely done. The whole, I would say, ultra respectful sort of character, and the amount of thank yous I think that were there in the movie, probably not said that any in my entire life so far, but yeah, that was interesting, but also a nice touch, because these types of movies, I guess, generally is where you kind of get a chance to experience like the actual world that they're living in or the environment that they're in. And so that was nice that it was not just the stories, but they kind of added and built on the settings that they were in. So that was kind of cool.
I totally loved the apartment that he was in and the sort of different apartments that he could see.
Yeah.
That was really, really nice. And like, I mean, you feel sad because he's of course living this sort of lonely life where he sees the couple downstairs, he sees the old man who was almost kind of
Yeah.
his picture.
And also you could kind of see like he's want to be a part of something, because he kind of like toasts with the beer can, and you're like, you kind of feel that loneliness that he was kind of going through. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Naeem, I think you wanted to say something, and then I've
Yeah, I'm trying to recollect what exactly I wanted to say because it like slipped out of my mind, and I'm like, man, I wanted to say it, but it kind of, I think we'll just get along, and when it comes, I
yeah,
kind of.
cool. Yeah, so I guess we talk about the services, right? This whole rented family thing, and the one thing I kind of uh, I liked initially, I was a little like concerned, but later I liked is the first case that he has, right? The wedding case. I like the fact that he is very nervous about it, right? I thought it would immediately be like, oh, he's perfectly fit for this role. He's going to act like this. But I like the fact that he's hidden in a toilet stall and he's like refusing to come out because he signed up for something that he had absolutely no clue about. Even the funeral scene, basically at the
Yeah.
start. So I really like that. I was trying to during or rather while watching the movie, I was like trying to figure out could anyone else have been a better fit for this role, and I'm like I think they cast Brendan Fraser in like the perfect role. I think he is this very um, nervous. I wouldn't say bumbling character, but he is this very emotional, very humble, down to earth sort of person. Even I think in real life, he gives off that kind of
Yeah,
vibe.
it's like it was like a bumbling character, but not in a goofy sort of way. It was more like he stumbled into things, but it was like the situation was kind of a little too serious to be like a goofball. So yeah, it was I don't know if there was anyone else who would have played this role better. I'm sure there would be other actors that would have done a good job, but in no sense was Brendan the wrong choice for this role.
So I remember now finally, by the way, what it was.
Yes.
So I really like the fact that, I mean, it's quite obvious, I suppose, but like the fact that they are in Japan. I love the fact that there was a lot of Japanese being spoken. Yes, I know what happened there, but the fact that they were speaking a lot in Japanese as opposed to like focusing
Yes.
on English, which does happen in few movies. I mean, a lot of movies rather, is what I like really like, because I was thrown back by it initially, because I was like, okay, Hollywood, English, all of that, right? And then suddenly there was like Japanese around. Initially, I was like, okay, maybe it's like bits and pieces that you see, and then you see it throughout the movie, and I was like, that is brilliant. Like the fact that they've gone with that direction, it just adds so much reality to the whole this thing, right? Like in the way it's being experienced. That was really nice to see.
Yeah, I completely understand. And I was about to say the same thing. I was like, it's so good because obviously, even in like Indian movies, right? Like when there's obviously a mixture of Bollywood and regional players, like you see someone talk in like Tamil or in Hindi, and the other guy is obviously from Kerala or something else. He probably does not understand, but he will respond in his own way. But here, I love the fact that Brendan Fraser, spoke Japanese and properly fluent enough. I don't speak fluent Japanese, but I'm sure he's learned it and he's speaking it quite well. And I like that effort being made. I like the fact that there was a lot of dialogue in Japanese, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like boiled down to English for the mainstream audience, right? And yeah, that's one thing I watched and that I immediately noticed, and I was like, yes, this is awesome. And yes, thank God you brought it up. Okay, so let's talk about the services that were being offered, right, by the rental family agency, which is awesome. So you've got all the way from being a sort of guest at a funeral, you've then got to be a groom, a father, a journalist, a whatever gaming buddy, a karaoke cheerleader, so everything, right? And I think one of the weirdest one was an apology service, which was, I mean, crazy to think that if that's true, that you actually have services that, or people are okay to do that kind of thing. So I'm going to throw it out here. I'm going to ask you this question straight up at the start of this podcast. Two questions. So one is, which service would you enlist for, or what services would you want? It could be anything. Why is your head nodding straight away? It could be anything. So which services would you kind of enlist for from this agency? And the second one is, if you were in Brendan Fraser's uh, shoes or whatever, right, in his place, which services would you like to give out there, right? Or which part would you be best suited to?
I think we should come to this like right towards the end of the movie.
No.
Like, finish it off. Finish the podcast off with that, with this question. Give us enough
Okay,
time.
fine.
To
Okay, fine. I'll
We'll
put the
park
question
this
here.
in
You have the yeah. You have the you have
Yeah.
all the time to come up with it, but we will get to it at the end. But talking about the service, crazy. I think Naeem, you mentioned to me while watching the trailer that you read about that this is actually true in.
Yeah, so that's what I was actually gonna ask. Like, do you guys? I don't know if it's true or not, but I do vaguely recall reading about this. Either it was almost a decade ago, or could be even further back when we were still in school. Where an article, I don't know about the other relationships, but I feel like there was this thing of renting an emotional partner who would just be there for the parts of like attending functions or just being there for you to kind of at the end of the day have a conversation with and things like that. So this is what I recall, and I do vaguely recall it being for Japan as well, because I think there was this thing of people not wanting to engage what do you say, emotionally or whatever. I'm not sure, like I again, this article is so long ago, I can't recall it completely, but I do think this service might actually be a real thing in Japan. Not the entire suite that is on
Mm.
offer or being represented here, but at least parts of it, I guess, might actually be true. Actually, while you guys have that conversation, maybe I'll just Google.
But okay, so
Um,
Aaron, do you think that
But yeah,
yeah.
I do know that they do have services like this way. Maybe not specific to what was shown in the movie, but I do know like you could hire someone to kind of like, uh, just as a emotional this thing where you could kind of like, if you have something to vent on, or like if you just want someone to spend the day with to kind of experience something and stuff like that way. I do know that that was a thing that has kind of uh, started there. So it's not beyond the realms of reality in terms of what is something that is going on there. And I think it has to do a lot with the work culture that is there. Like a lot of
Mm.
people spend a lot of time at work, and so building relations and things like that way is not on the top of their list of things to do. And so then this is how they kind of go about these kind of things. So I know that they have similar sort of services, but if it is like as specific or as uh, such a variety
plethora of
of options and kind of experiences that are out there, I'm not too sure about that.
So, what do you guys think about the services in and of itself, right? Like, I mean, we talk about Japan, but even in current day scenario and across the world, there are people who are going through this loneliness epidemic, or are busy in their lives that they don't have time to, you know, or rather, if they're free, their friends or family are too busy to give them time, and all of that, right? So, do you think this service is something that you could see now being implemented across the board, or are there still very gray lines when it comes to what kind of services technically are there? Because I mean, to put it bluntly, it is maybe the mildest version of pipping out people and paying for services, right? Slightly, but of course, in certain cases, it's not dirty in nature or whatever. There are certain emotional standpoints. Obviously, I mean, you see Aiko being sort of an escort of sorts to somebody in a restaurant
more
itself.
adult oriented is
Adult,
probably the
yeah, yes. Thank you for that. But I'm just asking. So, would you consider this to be something that you would think is appropriate in today's environment and would be considered cool? Yeah, let's go about doing this.
See, I'm of the opinion to each his or her own, right? Like, or
Mm.
their own. And if this is something that kind of works for them, great. I mean, again, we live in different societies, and I guess it's a lot to do with where your society is at currently. I don't think it seems more prominent as a requirement where we live, but perhaps in a country like Japan, where you are so, I mean, obviously there is work pressure everywhere, and you're very much into building your careers, etc., etc. But I guess it's a lot more prominent there because everyone's just driven by all of that and spend a lot more time in that space in itself, and don't have energy to do anything else in terms of building the relationship. So they kind of feel like it's better, or it's easier rather, to just
Pay someone
get
to.
what you yeah pay someone to get what you want and avoid everything else that is not required, that comes as a part and parcel of maintaining relationships, such as like a friend or even a girlfriend or like any kind of relative, right? Like there are good things and there are bad things, but it's a package that it comes in, and you can't be like, oh, I only want the good part, but I don't want the bad part, kind of a thing. You have to, in genuine relationships, you have to deal with both. Here, you kind of circumvent all of that and just deal with the good stuff that you want, and then just avoid the unnecessary drama or whatever you want to kind of avoid, I suppose. So yeah, I mean, to each their own, and if this is something that works for them, and if they can afford it, why not?
No, I guess fair to each their own, but I'm just wondering whether, such a service. So I get why Japan and all of that, but I mean, you look at it, it could be anywhere. I think for me, it's more individual specific, right? So each one would require a service like that or not. But I'm just trying to figure out whether uh, this service is, would it kind of be accepted, as well as do you think we require it in this kind of environment where people are busy with work, especially here also, right? Like you have people working 10, 11 hours a day, coming back home probably tired, all of that. So I don't know, it's just a question of like, would this concept work?
I mean, I guess yes, in some sense, you can say that you can see why there would be some people that would want it. I don't know about the word require, but you kind of see why some people would want to give it a shot and stuff like that. But I think like how the movie shows, there is a danger of these lines being blurred and things where people could get emotionally a little bit too involved.
Mm.
And you run the risk of like a innocent situation then kind of getting a little bit too out of hand, which like for example the famous actor, I forget the name, but like in his case, like you understand why Brendan's character helps take him to his village back home and stuff like that way. But again, when there are multiple people involved, there are so many different opinions, and so many people have different ideas of what's right and what's wrong and things like that way. And so it can become a little bit sticky in that kind of thing. I mean, like, okay, in certain countries where people can just file lawsuits and sue people for basically anything, you can see why this is like a disaster waiting to happen in terms of a business kind of aspect. And so, yeah, again, you can understand why people would probably want to do stuff like this way. But I don't know if paying for these type of services makes sense. I think you have now like social meetups and that kind of stuff where people have now started doing these things online where like you can meet up with a group of people for a movie or a dinner or even a run and stuff like that way. And I think those kind of things are picking up. But yeah, I think if you kind of get them involved in specific life situations, then it won't be that all of them could lead to trouble, but yeah, you just open yourself up to that kind of can of worms. So
Yeah. And sure, I think even one wrong move from either side, right, could and that's what I liked about it, is that you know this kind of work, right, this line of job that you do, it requires you to have such good compartmentalization and like emotional disattachment, because you can't get like I
which is like the complete opposite of the person who's asking for the service, right? So that person needs the emotional sort of whatever exposure or kind of an outlet for that emotional release, whereas the person that's providing the service has to be a stone cold killer kind of thing, like where you
and,
don't get attached or emotional to
And,
anyone. So,
but
imagine it turns out to be a stone cold killer.
yeah.
yeah.
But hilariously, in the movie, it's the like you said, it's the opposite. It's like Brendan Fraser's the one who's got emotionally attached, but the people hiring him, whether it be Kiko, the famous guy, the celebrity, whether it be Hitoma, the mother, right, or
No,
what?
but Kiko is not the one hiring him. It's his daughter who
It's
hires. He
yeah,
doesn't know.
correct.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
but in all cases, if you see, okay, maybe not the one hiring, but the subject that he's kind of providing the service to, all of them have been emotionally invested in it, right? Kiko,
Exactly. Yeah.
Mia, and whoever the other one was, but like all of them were like so emotionally attached to Brendan's character that that's where then things get blurred because, for example, Mia's mother hired it with the sole purpose of getting her into school.
yeah,
But for Mia, it was a whole lot more than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And it became, and same with the old guy. It was just about I'm coming for an interview, or there's a journalist interviewing me, who then ended up kidnapping him and taking him wherever. So yeah.
and even I think in that short montage, the gaming guy who cleaned up his entire apartment and got himself to be quite well presented later on and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I guess it's the people hiring, but yeah, the subject definitely. And I mean, hilariously, the wedding, right? Imagine now what happens now if she has to go for different events and functions of the family. Does she basically say like, oh, he's just busy with work or he's
And she
traveling?
keeps, she keeps calling him for like, oh, we have like this massive event coming up, and my father like really want you to be there because the father is already in that
Oh,
during
yeah,
that
in that
duration
hug.
that this thing he's already built that the moment he hugs him he kind
Oh,
of like
welcome
really
to the family and stuff like that. Whoa.
yeah.
But just imagine, right? Because the whole story was for that kind of scenario was that they get married and then they go to Canada. She also moves out or whatever. But you have no contact with Brendan's character, right? And imagine like some event comes up a couple of months down the line or something, and Brendan's character either has no longer provides that service, doesn't work for that company, or he's dead or whatever. Like, so what happens then?
Oh, I
Like,
It's
divorced
oh,
him.
basically I think
my husband passed away.
passed away.
Uh,
Yeah, but I forgot to inform you guys because I was so
uh,
grief stricken.
I was so grief stricken that I forgot to inform you. I've been grieving all this time.
Uh, yeah.
You can say like, oh, in Canadian culture, we are not supposed to mention his name after he's passed, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. That would have been. Yeah, so it's interesting to see because obviously I guess he can call up the rental family agency, but even then, right? Yeah, you never know where Brendan Fraser where he is.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's hilarious. Okay, so we talk about the three main cases that he had. Of course, the first one being the wedding, the second one being the father to Mia, and the third being that journalist to Kiko, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess you get to see three different versions of Brendan Fraser. I think the first one's very, very unsure of how this entire thing works. This is his first case, and I really love that part, like where he's hidden in the bathroom and refusing to come out, and everyone's panicking outside, like where the fuck is he? Where's he gone? Where's he gone?
Oh, I also loved, even though they're panicking, is the way they enter the room and the way they exit the room, and each time they come across a person, and like the way they have displayed that is so phenomenal to show that in order for people to not realize that there's something going off, they kind of need to maintain the niceties throughout. They can't just like rush past in hallways and stuff like that. So that was really nice to see as well.
Yeah, so one of like we were talking about the services and everything. I think one of the sort of negatives, or I think a dark side of this business is the fact that, say, for instance, you're playing around with a child's life and everything, right? Like with the fact that you've told her that this is your father when of course he isn't, and then she becomes emotionally attached because he's spending time. Now, A is either Brendan Fraser's character Philip did such an amazing job, right? I think more than what was required, because otherwise, I don't know. I suppose otherwise he was supposed to play a very distant father figure rather than being a very close knit um, father. And I think he played it off way too well that I think even the mother got taken aback by how close she got. But that with that being said, that services is playing around with fire, right? With like something like this, you could really scar a kid.
On
And
multiple levels.
yeah, so it's yeah, and I don't even know what happens to that other friend. Like I'm guessing he does not have a father or mother, or they were too busy. I have no clue, but I'm just saying, like, things like that can really scar kids at such a young age, very impressionable age as well. And so, but that being said, I love the dynamic between Mia and Philip. It was
Yeah.
so much fun. But at the same time, I
I
was
also
waiting for the penny to drop where somebody would recognize that, like, he's an actor.
Yeah.
that was also a thing, right? Like I kept wondering if that would happen, where paths would cross from his first case and his second case, and it's different names, obviously, uh, everywhere, kind of a thing, and that could complicate. But I mean, it's not Bollywood, so we're not going that route, kind of a thing. They're not trying to tell that story.
But it kind
Um,
of did have a crossover in the sense that you had the what would you call it? His friend, the palm reader, kind of
but
crossing
she
paths.
already knew. But
Yes,
she already knew what was going on in his life. He did
kind of.
mention
No,
Yeah.
it.
but it kind of hints at like what could have happened in other
Yeah.
scenarios, right? I mean, he, like, for example, even the other two colleagues, once they mentioned he was in that toothpaste commercial, they recognized him. So I mean, if you go to an event as big as a wedding was, or a funeral where they showed so many people at those events, like someone could have recognized him or whatever, and even the fact that Mia found something on the TV with him on it means that
Why
there
was
was
he
something.
dressed up like Hook?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
But also meant that it was something recently that he worked on. So that also was like kind of quite careless on the company's part, I guess, to have him be such a recognizable character if that was what he was. So yeah.
That or the fact that they told him that he had another job. He could have just been an actor or whatever, right? They could have given him that role.
Yeah, but you have a cast at the end, right? So then what do you say? That's my stage name. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I guess. Okay, so that's the second one. But with all that being said, I really love the dynamic between the two. It really felt like you were seeing a father-daughter relationship being built out there, and it
Yeah,
was
that
nice. Yeah,
development was nice.
I love the what would you call it? A light or a creation? The Sharktopus? It wasn't the Sharktopus, but the
Yeah, the
chandelier
kind
type.
of
Art piece.
a silent wind chime or whatever, because he kept blowing at it also. They were like wondering what that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked quite cool.
Yeah. So
Even the first one, we briefly spoke about it, but the relationship there, like, even though it's very this thing, right? Like in the part where she's already thanking him right from the start, to that small moment that they have in the room when it's just them, right? That silence and all of that, and his exit from there, and it's just such an emotional part, but also such a um like, if Brendan is not a good person, like in
yeah.
this case he's a good person, but if he's not a good person, then like the kind of possibilities there are endless. and not good ones, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just scary because I kept thinking of everything that could go wrong in a situation like this. Even with Mia being kind of out in that festival just with him there. What festival was that? I
The
don't remember.
that I don't know. It's a cat festival, right?
Yeah. Like in those
Cat
cases, like,
Monster Festival is what she said.
yeah. So even in those cases, like, this guy is a okay. Like, I mean, he's been asked to play her father and things like that, but the fact that she's allowed to be around him without any actual supervision there is quite, like, scary, to say the
Yeah.
least. Yeah,
I
like,
mean, the confidence you place on a stranger, right? Like,
yeah.
or on the agency to hire the right kind of people. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, I like the whole point of that Mia situation is to get her into the best school in Japan, and I was intrigued to see how that entire interview would go, and it was nice. I obviously knew he would deviate from the script. Like, come on, the way he was acting and the
Yeah,
sort of this thing. So yeah.
yeah. I only thought that they would have kind of touched on that bit a little more, where then the mother would be a little bit upset about the fact that he gave different answers, like where she would think like, oh, you messed up the interview for the daughter or something like that, but they just kind of skipped over that entirely. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
but I think
that was
also
the only reason.
it was his also his last day, so maybe she was like, ah, fuck it, I'm not going to see this guy anymore.
No, but I
Yeah, I
also
know, but
think,
then it kind of like you went through all that for the purpose of getting through the school, and then you're like, oh, what happened there? But
I,
Yeah.
I think
yeah,
is the
so I was
fact
like,
is, like,
you showed us the interview for what?
no, but because, like, if you see, I mean, maybe I saw it differently, but during the interview, it felt like she was not happy about
Yeah,
the fact
yeah,
that he was answering out of turns. But, like, I think as the interview progresses and the kind of answers he's giving and how the interviewers are reacting to it is what changes her mind about, like, uh, the reason why there is no spat about it after this thing is because I think that she understands that the interviewers responded positively to the answers that he was giving, and it also showed that he kind of, like, was actually listening to what the kid was saying, which she did mention initially during one of the conversations that she and her mother are having. So I'm guessing that's where it comes from, and
Hmm.
that's why she does not react negatively to it post the interview.
No,
yeah.
I
But
don't mean just negatively, but I was just like some sort of conversation on that
Mm.
because, yeah, like you said, you do see her like when he shows the pictures on the phone to one of the interviewers, and she kind of also gets like excited about it, and then they pan to the mother. You kind of see like she's like, oh, maybe it's not such a bad thing, whatever he's doing. So you do see that, but like at least maybe even just a thank you or something or whatever, you spoke well about my daughter or something like
yeah,
that way, that would have been a nice touch.
I agree because I also felt the same thing that there was a conversation missing there because as soon as the interview got over, they're just walking up the stairs, and I'm like, I guess you have to talk about what happened, like,
Yeah.
because isn't that important? So yeah, I definitely because it immediately goes like, oh, that's his last day, let's just go, like, because yeah,
Yeah.
so it is this thing, but it's also, I mean, it's quite emotional also for Mia to see Mia kind of ask him out for dinner and he having to kind of tell her that he has to leave again and they're
Yeah.
not going to see each other. Um, I'm saying that that could really scar a kid, but of course Mia was, I think, a lot more mature than her age, and so
For
I
her
think
age, yeah.
for her age, yeah. So it was, uh, it's nice that she took it that way, and even when she found out, right? It was I like the ending where she's like, "How come you didn't tell me you were famous?" Right? And how did you get all that? how do you get the role? So it was nice to see that happen. And I guess the third case that we talk about is Kiko, which I love the part where he sneaks into the house and says jailbreak, and this guy's like jailbreak, yes, come on.
And also when he sees the costume, like I've got my own costume, that was like so cool. Yeah.
So I love that bit. I also kind of which was the yeah. So of course I like the conversation they had at the ramen place as well. And of course you then come to see what Kiko was going through, right? Like in terms of his mental state and why his daughter was also. I wish also we spent a little more time talking to the daughter, making her understand and kind of having that. So, I mean, that's why I probably rated it also 4 and not higher, because I think there were more conversations that could have been had that could have fleshed out a little more and made it a little more interesting to see the daughter's stance of things, right? To see why is she being very confrontational with the father, especially that conversation that they have where Philip is sitting outside and you hear them fighting inside, right? I mean, maybe we could have heard a little more about that, but no, I love the jailbreak. I love the fact that they ran into the cab and he's like go, and then the car just stuttered. It didn't even like speed up. It basically broke down. I was like, oh shit, this is going to end well. And I was scared though. I was scared that he was going to die there. I thought he was going to go to his hometown to kind of just be like, this is my resting place.
Yeah.
And it just got worse when he kind of fainted there, and like I was like, oh my god, like how is he gonna explain this now? Like, because the old man is gone, and it's basically like he's killed him, kind of a thing. So, good luck with that.
He's kidnapped him, taken him to his hometown.
Written him into his will, and then see you.
No, but imagine it from the daughter's standpoint. It's like, you've seen this guy, he pose as a journalist, kidnap your father, take him to his hometown, dug up the old pictures, shown him the love of his life, and then killed him.
That is like my dad went through one emotional day.
Yeah. But yeah, and yeah, I get why at that point, like, Tada is very unhappy about this, right? Obviously, it's his business, it's his reputation, like you mentioned, and like one wrong thing and they could sue them to, the sky, right? And I think that was, I guess, a reasonable conversation to have. But I get from Brendan's point of view as well. Like, you can't get into this business and not feel emotional or attached to these kind of people.
Yeah, and also because Tada did mention initially the purpose for doing this is for helping people or whatever. So, yeah, you could kind of argue for both cases, but really when you see the way that Philip or Brendan's character, whatever, goes about doing it, he genuinely cares for those people, and it's like doing what they actually want rather than just doing enough for the payment and then walking away. So he actually became a dad to Mia in whatever sense you want to kind of make of it. He did become the person that the old guy, again I forget his name, but whatever he wanted, basically that's what he was to him, not just the journalist that the daughter hired to play. And same was with all the other characters, whether it was the husband to the lady in the beginning or the gaming partner to the other guy. So he was there for them and not just to play the role. And so, yeah, I guess that's where the difference was.
Yeah.
But also the fact that he kind of just screws his career to kind of for the, like, I mean, by the time he's already so invested in Mia's case, I think more than anyone else, is that he's willing to let go of a career he's kind of waited to build on for pretty much the entirety of his life, I suppose. Like in the 7-8 years that he's been there in Japan, not
Yeah,
entirety of life, but in his professional career, whatever,
yeah,
is like speaking volumes in terms of how far or how deep into this whole he's kind of gone in, and how that's
yeah.
kind of impacted him personally.
I think also that mini montage which they show where he's like going to multiple kind of characters that he was playing, and you can actually see like there's some sort of happiness that he has got out of this whole thing. Initially, they kind of made it look like he was sad, lonely, and that kind of stuff. But here, then he kind of, because he was being so invested in these roles, he kind of found some happiness for himself as well. And so, yeah, I think it was a mutual benefit in the end, I guess.
A detective in Korea, could he have was he being hired for Squid Games season 4? I mean, they are moving to America, so maybe they need another token white guy. So, but yeah, I mean, talking about it, I mean, it's, you could recognize Brendan Fraser from a mile away in Japan, because the guy he's massive, he is white, he is so different from everyone out there. Yeah, so I guess the so with Mia, and the one thing I wanted to talk about is there's this scene where Philip goes into this room with Tada where he's got files of different people, right? I think he's got 700 to 800 different clients, and he says that it's a reminder of the people that we've helped. Is that the case, or is it because at some point in time these people are going to call them up again and they need to know where they last left off? It's like, oh, who are you again?
Quite possible, right? I mean, like, there's so much of background stories and stuff that you kind of need to know information that you need to know. So who knows?
Or
Right,
worse,
right.
it could be for extorting them at a later point. There's some other
or,
business that he's planning on,
or they know
on the back burner.
where the bodies are buried,
Uh,
right? But I think one of my favorite scenes relating to Kiko's thing is, of course, when he unfortunately, no, before he passes, when he comes back home after his episode, is that both Aiko and the colleague go in as the uh, insurance agents,
Lawyers.
lawyers,
yeah.
sorry, not
Or
Yes.
insurance,
Mm.
lawyers, and then
Tara.
they are expecting the detective to come, and then you immediately see his face, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like his face, him looking at them like, oh, what the fuck are you doing here? And this is after Aiko quits the job as well, right? After this thing. So it's hilarious. I love that scene. But talking about Tada also, yeah, I mean, this business is difficult. Like I mentioned, to be so emotionally unattached or unavailable also at times, right? Even though that's what you're being hired for, so that you're able to take care of everyone's needs. But I was initially very pleasantly surprised that he has a fully functioning home, a family. I like the fact that the first time you see it, he has a good relationship even with his son, despite missing the football game, and he's talking about that. But damn, that dark turn that it took the second time round, right? Where, of course, he's now very, very agitated or uh, angry about what transpired with Philip and Kiko, and then you see that it's not all what it seems. That the family that he currently lives with is all play acting. This entire life, he's basically, you talk about actors being method actors, and that jumping into that role wholeheartedly, that you become that character. I mean, for him to live a life like that, how could you go back every day and kind of live your life like that? It's disturbing also. if you think about it. But what
Yeah.
do you guys think about that?
To be
I-
honest, I did think it was something off over there. Because like you said, it was very out of place for someone to be running this sort of business and then going home to like a fully functioning family. Like there was nothing like nothing else was going on, so that kind of was a bit weird, and I felt like there was a little bit more to it than what they showed. And the fact that they showed it also, I was like, huh, there probably is something to be revealed over here later.
Yeah. Naeem?
So I lost my train of thought again, but
Oops.
yeah.
Maybe we'll let you go first next time so that you actually
Yeah.
get your thoughts in
I
first.
can do, yeah.
Okay, but I mean, I also had an inkling as to this was what was going to happen, or that there was something that would happen. But at first, I was pleasantly surprised that this guy was able to do both. Okay,
Wait, before I lose it again. Sorry.
yes,
Just okay. So I was more like I was thinking along the lines of, you know how they're discussing the life, right? Like in terms of how his football has gone and stuff, and then eventual reveal happens of like it being a rented family altogether. What I wanted to understand is, are these like, did he actually have a football match, and like are those real life experiences? Is just that he is communicating to him what's actually gone about in his day, or is it like scripted stuff that he's supposed to say when he eventually gets home, kind of a thing? Like how
I think scripted, right? Because in the reveal, he does when he says science again the second time, he's like, think of something better or more creative or something like that. Where he says,
oh yeah
So
yeah.
it is scripted. It is, I guess, what they have is I'm guessing a broad idea of they need to have a son and father conversation. So think about ideas and think about things that they could talk about, and then I'm guessing throughout the day the two actors go through whatever they need to go through so that they're
Yeah.
able to
I
play
think
out
it
that
was
role.
something like that. Yeah, it'll be
no,
like
because I was just thinking, because
uh,
the father comes in and he's like, how's the football thing gone? Unless he's picked up on that because he's wearing the jersey and playing the football game. So okay, I know the conversation's gonna go there, so I need to like bring it up and be like, hey, so how was the football game, kind of a thing? And the mother's like, no, like, you know, it's not been that great, kind of a thing. And then the kid obviously already is expecting to have that conversation, so he's like, okay. But I'm just wondering if the father is in on it, like, then it's not really a realistic, like, because see, like, everyone rents for different reasons, right? In this
Yeah.
case, he's renting to get a genuine feeling of having a family, per se. So if he's actually scripting it out, or he's in the know of certain things, then the feeling kind of doesn't feel
No, so
genuine,
I don't think it's
even though he
scripted.
knows.
I don't think it's scripted. It's more like you are my family, right? The broad idea is that I want to come home and have a conversation about different things. So every day you do something different, and I guess then it's just a ad lib play off
then
thing,
they
right?
play
So
off each other. Yeah.
yeah, so it's not that I've written it down for you. I've just told you that today, you're my family. So every day we do something different, and then we'll have a conversation, whatever, like that. So I think that's where the genuine, the what did you call it? That's where the realism comes about. If like you said, if I write down everything, then I know exactly what the guy's going to be saying, right? And so I think so that was interesting, but it is dark. It is harrowing to know that this guy's paid, and I don't know whether the actors are from the same agency as well, or if there's like a completely different agency about it. But it's interesting. I mean, for the kid, it's also, I guess, good money, right? At such a young age.
But you would wonder like who lets their kid get into something like that way. It's so weird.
Someone who makes the money.
Unless it's a mother-son partnership where they actually are mother and son. They're just, you know, giving their services out to this thing. Oh yeah, so I liked it though. I mean, it is interesting
New
because you
twist
have to
to
think.
How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. Oh, at least this one doesn't die. So phew. At least not right now. So it's yeah. I kind of like that approach that they took, and goes to show that even the kind of I guess there will be some sacrifice that even someone like Tata has made, right? Because for for undertaking such services or for doing such services. So yeah, I think. But with that being said, right? I was thinking about it just after watching the movie. For someone to be in this line of business, you would have to be multifaceted, multi-talented, right? Because tomorrow you could be hired as a cook, you could be hired as something else. Like, what if you're a terrible cook and you end up poisoning the family?
A cook, not really, right?
I don't know. It could be like someone wants to help.
Like you have to. I want to hire a husband that will cook for me or something like that.
That
I
way.
come.
Then you have to.
I come home to a husband that has
I
prepared
mean,
a
that
bomb meal or something.
because Tata has hired a wife who cooks, right? So what's the difference if I hire someone else to come and cook for me? Or I mean, Bhima, I wonder how far he takes that approach of wife and son, right? Like, after dinner, do you just go like, see you, go back home? Or I have no clue. But that we leave it to the imagination there. But yes,
just don't get too creative.
This is strictly emotional. Like, I mean, that's all where this agency's work ends, basically.
Yeah,
so.
This is friends with no benefits, if you want to call it that. Unless the benefits are only cooking and having a conversation. So
if you need the benefits, Philip knows a guy.
Yeah,
not a guy. Knows someone.
Yeah. if it was,
I'm just so happy
that's the wrong country.
This movie does not end up with Brendan's character developing feelings for Mia's mother and like that whole thing going like. I was worried they would kind of do that.
Yeah.
And they didn't, thankfully.
I am your father. Yes, now I am your father.
Yeah.
I was happy. I was happy with you as my dad. I was happy too.
Mother, do you hear him? Do you hear her? Like, don't you want what your daughter wants? But yeah, but even talking about Brendan Fraser's thing, we do see him obviously have loneliness, or be in a sort of state of loneliness at the start of the movie. But we do come to know that he does also have a friend, at least, that he can vent out to. It's important, right? If you're in that business where people vent out to you and you don't have anyone to vent out to, then that could be a recipe for disaster. So I'm glad that in whatever shape and form, like, not judging the relationship that he has with Nagumi or whatever, but it's nice that at least he has someone that he's close enough to talk about these things and have a conversation about it. And the fact that she also doesn't just treat this as like, oh, I'm going to get paid a lot more, so I don't mind it. Like, she also genuinely likes him.
Yeah, she gave him 10 minutes extra when he got married, so that was something
for free. And also the fact that she technically did not want to accept money for the palm reading for Mia, and then eventually, so that was it was a nice relationship. Again, things like that could be very dark, right? In that kind of world and that kind of job. What?
Yeah, we can do a revisit to this universe, but on the dark side, I suppose.
What the top 10 things that could have gone wrong with this movie, but
yeah.
Oh my God. You write the script and then we'll hire people to be the audience for when you enact it.
We'll get we'll get to the part. Oh, we can actually do that, right? Like we hire people to be our fans. Like finally, watch the channel.
I mean,
Watch
there
the
are
entire.
honestly, you can't pay for that. There is a paid subscription for this where you can pay for it and you get bots and you get 10,000 other subscribers. So there is already that in place. So yes, but you can hire genuine people.
Yeah,
right?
we hire genuine people so that they can watch it and then go talk about it and then like, share, and subscribe to. So maybe that's
Yeah.
something we need to learn from this movie.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, guys. So if you need to make money, you know who to contact. Naeem,
Yeah.
not
There,
not me.
the somewhere there and there probably
Yeah.
who you contact.
Okay. Yes. So that relationship was nice, despite I mean, the nature of it being, I guess, quite adult in Naeem's words, but
Yes.
it was good. to
Definitely
see
not
that.
sticking to Pradyum's words from earlier. But yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So and yes, I'm glad also the fact that they didn't go that route of Mia's mother eventually liking Philip and
Falling in love.
falling in love with that. Yeah. So
He's been there for us. He said he ticked all the right boxes, said the right things, and got Mia into the school.
because
So now that Mia
Brent
is going away.
Brendan's a player because he had, quite emotional scenes with Hitoma, which is Mia's mother. He had emotional scenes with Nagumi or his friend.
He had
And
an emotional scene with the
Aoki.
bride initially, and I was worried. I was like, what is this? Like, what's gonna happen here?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
gosh,
Aoki, the other employee as well. I'm glad that he was also there. And yeah. But talking about her, I love the scene in that restaurant where she gets slapped, but I love the fact that she says that it's gonna cost the guy 20,000
Yeah.
yen.
Yeah.
Extra, and then don't forget to pay the receipt. Yeah, the check.
That was the exact scene I was referring to right at the start, where I said like that one scene where she kind of goes through something and then how she adapts to that was like brilliant to see. And there is also the flip side of it where she's had enough of it and then she's just like, screw you, I'm gonna like out you right in front of your this thing, like your wife.
Yeah.
You apologize.
Because the apology services would, I mean, while yes, it can also be a guy. I mean, more chances are that it would be Aoki who gets hired for those kind of services, right?
Mm.
I mean, like I said, it could be either way, but they showed Aoki, and it probably also likely that's why she got pissed off, because she gets used for these kind of roles, whereas Philip has the more meaningful connections. Because she could be the journalist, she could have done all of that, or even Philip could have come as the for an apology service and said that this guy was gay.
I am sorry. It would be nice, yeah. That would be quite
if it's a guy who's that repeatedly asking for this service just to kind of put an end to it, just send Brandon Fraser. Don't call again.
But the likelihood is that he actually gets genuinely attached to the guy and they actually start seeing it. So, but yeah, I think so. That was hilarious though. That when she finally got like pissed off and she's like, "Screw this shit." Like, you go get your actual mistress to come and apologize. Like, I'm not doing this shit for you. Because initially,
wondering, like, what would be the end result of that? You're paying anyway to apologize to your wife, but like, what are you hoping as the best? You've done something that is wrong. This thing, it doesn't matter who is coming to apologize. You've played a part there.
Or the fact that she came on to him rather than he initiating that.
And he just sat there, right?
Yeah.
Like when
He's
everything
like,
was happening. She came on to me. That's it. Everything just happened right there.
And she was too heavy to lift off. So I was like, oh. But yeah, it was. I mean, the guy's just lost everything, right? He's probably lost the house now because of that.
For sure.
And
yeah.
so with all that being said, I think overall this was okay. I'm not going to end this here because I just quickly realized.
I was like, okay, we pinned something to the side, so like we parked it aside, but we probably need to.
What services would you enlist for, and what services would you like to provide? It doesn't have to be obviously the ones that he's done, but any services that you can think of.
I don't think I would provide any service. Only because, like, again, it is like the whole moral thing of being too emotionally involved or kind of, setting someone else up for disappointment, because you kind of build hope and then you know that it's something that's contractual or time bound. And so, yeah, you kind of build hope or you build something only to kind of then let it fall by the wayside. So, yeah, I don't think that sort of emotional, moral kind of thing would allow me to do that. In terms of even kind of enlisting or enrolling to a service again, it kind of feels a little bit pointless because, I mean, if you just go by logic, is like, what are you really trying to achieve? It's like, it's almost like an adrenaline rush where you kind of feel it for that moment and then you're back to reality. So yeah, I don't think that's one for me. Not that I'm knocking it. I do see the reasons why people would do it, but yeah, at the moment I don't think I see something where I'd be like, okay, I need to pay someone to do this for me for like a short time span or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
So along the similar lines, to be honest, like if I'm giving you a very, very honest answer, I wouldn't do either. Like provide the service or enlist for it. But just to make it fun, kind of a thing. If I ever again, like providing the service in itself, my reasoning is very same to Aaron in itself, right? Like there's nothing wrong with people wanting to kind of be a part of this industry if they can kind of segregate like professional life and personal life and not connect. But for someone like who's emotionally driven in a lot of ways, I think I simply cannot like be emotionally attached to someone and then next moment be like completely away from that person or something. So it doesn't really work for me. But I will give you a fun, and I think it is possible now because I do see ads of this coming up. But in terms of enlisting and just from a fun aspect, I won't really do this. But if there were ever a possibility of doing this, it would be for cricket.
Yeah.
Because we always fall short of people in terms of like when we used to play. So get people to be friends to play cricket would be one of those things. But again, like you do see ads nowadays where you can just book like a football court or something, and you just have to pay like your end of it, and like 11 other players will just pop
It's
up
just
on the
like
basis of
it's like a FIFA drop-in lobby where you just
it's kind of like that, yeah. So
Yeah.
it is possible as such, but yeah, like I mean, if there were ever a possibility of kind of exploring this, then yeah. But I mean, it's a double whammy, isn't it? You're already paying for the entire court, and then you're paying to get people to come and play with you in that court. So it's like,
Yeah.
wow, a very expensive affair. Yeah, so probably that's it. Like, I mean, the remotest possibility of it ever happening. Again, also like to flip it onto the fun side of ever providing a service per se. Even if I were to be someone's friend or like offer that service, it would always be in very public spaces so that there's nothing that goes wrong. Like, because I am like extremely doubtful of how the agencies would go about vetting the profile of people who are opting to be in this service, right? Like, it's very, very dangerous, and it's a very thin line that people are walking with this. So, yeah, but I guess that's
I would have
That's
thought you'd hire people not as people to play with, but like as an audience for you, and you're like, oh, I scored 100, raise your bat and get them to cheer for you or something.
Talia bajao.
I have enough people cheering for me, Aaron. Even if it's not for 100, maybe even like falling over while I'm
Oh yes,
taking a run.
that was the first thing that came to mind. The one where you completed the run with your whole arm.
Yeah. I
Oh,
don't
Yeah.
need. Yeah, I don't need to hire people for that. There's already a crowd for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow. Cool.
What was your answers, Brady?
Yeah.
I don't know. So in terms of services that I would provide,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, apart from being
He's not
apart from
interested in providing any services because it does not have any benefits. Like it's just a service, no benefits. Like, if there were benefits, I would think about it.
I guess cooking for someone. I guess that's something that will,
Food
I don't
review,
know.
you could do
Food.
that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, restaurants anyway pay you, but I guess for reviewing this,
Give a good review.
exactly. But I guess something. Yeah, I guess if at all, I mean, you get a cook anyway. But I guess if someone has that need,
A quick
I guess
conversation, a cook with a conversation. Is
cook
what
with the
you're saying.
yeah, a quick
Yeah.
cook conversation. Yeah, exactly, something like that. And something that enlist probably. I'm very lazy to go to the gym alone. So I probably have like a gym buddy or a partner that I would
For a
hire
workout.
just to
You want someone.
Why is every expression in your face?
That's what you want, right? You want someone
Yeah.
to have a workout with.
Have a workout with, exactly, and or even someone I'd hire to just go and try out different restaurants with, and then have a workout.
Nice.
Yeah. But yes, I guess that those are probably the only two things that maybe those things. Otherwise,
You could though endless. You'd probably make Auntie very happy if you actually decided to kind of do what the first case like. Yeah.
Oh,
not
that
entirely
fake-
that first
fake-
case, but like I'm saying. Yeah. Oh shit. No,
yeah,
it's just
I
like
don't know where you're going with it here.
Yeah, I was like, what? Oh man.
no. Like I mean, parts of that, like where
Parts of it.
Auntie is happy with you having kind of found someone.
Yeah.
To work out with? Okay.
Not the second aspect of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but yes.
Of course, yeah.
Well, Auntie, if you're listening, skip this part, please.
Don't worry, she doesn't listen to us.
Good.
Ouch. Yes. I guess that's all the time we have to discuss Rental Family. I mean, honestly, what a fun movie. I think I will revisit this again soon.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, these are some of the movies where I don't mind just going back to and watching it because I know I'll have a fun time.
Yeah.
You know, just the right emotional beats, the right. I agree with you. Even the soundtrack and everything just makes it feel very comfy, very homely. Yeah, definitely one that we'll finally recommend after I think a spate of movies that we've watched and we've not really enjoyed as much. This is finally something that we've,
especially considering that I did give the previous week's movie as an option, although I didn't completely say like we have to do this, but I did give it as an option. But I think I fairly made up for it with this week's selection, where I kind of said like, oh, we got to kind of review this. So I'm happy about that.
Yes. I was less happy because I wanted to see something else, but we will get to that hopefully sometime in the
eventually.
Yeah, fuck you. Yes. Now, I guess that's all the time we have. Don't forget to like, the video, hit subscribe, follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook as well. I guess we're there. And we will catch you all on our next episode. Until then, you take care. Bye bye.